Indo-European people settled Norway's coast in antiquity, establishing a permanent settlement near the present capital of Oslo some 6,000 years ago. The interior was more sparsely settled, owing to extremes of climate and difficult terrain, and even. Number 15. Flam Railway, Norway. You also stop off at Kjosfossen Falls along the way, which was once again frozen during our visit. Along the way, you get to learn about the history of the train and the railway, whilst also spotting waterfalls and long-forgotten tracks all along the way. The journey takes you deep into the mountains, about 1 hour up until you reach a small stop called Myrdal. There's not much to do here, but it's the journey itself that is the best part of the visit. It quickly came to our attention that this is the most popular thing to do in the area, and so we hastily secured ourselves a couple tickets. This is another Norway attraction that we hadn't planned on doing, until the day when we arrived in the cute town of Flam. Number 14. Lovet Lake, Norway. Probably worth a visit, though it fell a little outside of our budget for Norway.
Won't have it till I'm done.
From here, one of the best things you can see is the Gap of Dunlo, arguably the most famously picturesque place in Ireland. Well, for me, Lovet Lake seemed to be all as much as beautiful and pristine as the Gap of Dunlo. Earlier on in the year, we were fortunate enough to complete an epic 16-day road trip in Ireland, where we got to visit Killarney.
Come back better than last year.
Number 13. Geiranger Fjord, Norway. But if I had to pick one fjord, then I would say that Geiranger Fjord was one of my favorites, and we seemed to spend a lot of time driving around it. In fact, doing a fjord cruise is one of the most popular things to do in Norway, and I am gutted we didn't get a chance to do one as well. To be honest, no matter which part of Norway you visit, as long as you head to the coast, you should be able to find a fjord that you will truly love. One of the things Norway is most famous for is its fjords, located all along its coastline. Number 12. Rampestreken, Norway. But nonetheless, the views were more than worth it, and I would 100% recommend others visit. When we did the climb, it was a lot of hard work as the ground was frozen and covered in ice, and there isn't exactly much of a trail to go on in the first place. At the top of the hike, which takes 1 to 2 hours depending on fitness and weather conditions, is a large steel viewing platform which makes for some spectacular views out over the town and surrounding fjords. When looking for some of the best hikes to do in Norway, we came across Rampestreken, located in southern Norway. This is a large hill, with a small town called Andalsnes right at its base. Number 11. Atlantic Ocean Road, Norway. It twists and turns, connecting tiny parcels of land to one another and forming a short yet inspiring road trip that you can't help but love. Many claim this to be one of the most scenic drives in the world, and it really is hard to disagree. Well, perhaps the most famous bridges are those located on the now infamous Atlantic Ocean Road. When passing through the coastal parts of Norway, it almost seems like you can't go more than an hour without stopping over to photograph yet another stunning bridge. One thing we soon learned during our road trip through Norway is that the country is home to some of the most mesmerizing bridges we've ever seen. Number 10. Trondheim, Norway. They have a wonderful castle overlooking the city, and lots of charming cafes in the oldest part of the town. For more information, check out our guide on all of the best things to do in Trondheim in one day. It's not a big city, Though no city in Norway are big, and has tons of character and charm, complete with old traditional Norwegian buildings and a large Gothic cathedral. When crossing back into Norway from Sweden, we found ourselves passing by Trondheim. We weren't really too sure what to expect and decided to visit on a whim. What we found ended up being one of the best cities in Norway that we found.
Worse, so you can just hide while I work. I'm tired.
Number 9. Haukeland Beach, Norway. Here you'll find a beach with perfect breaks for surfing, and even at that time of the year there were plenty of people out riding the freezing waves. Alternatively, you can hike up the mountain there to get even better views for miles all around. After visiting this beach, you can then drive through the tunnel, which brings you to another tiny village community. Here, you can park up and walk right out and around the headland, taking in views of the dramatic crashing waves all around. There really are dozens of great things to see and do on the Lofoten Islands, but if I had to pick my third favorite spot here, it would probably be Haukeland Beach. Number 8. Nusfjord, Norway. When we visited Norway in November, the town was shut down for the winter, and nothing was really open, but we still had a chance to wander around and discover the cool, red wooden buildings. It is still a functioning fishing village, but also a sort of experience, where you can visit and find out how these traditional towns work.
You should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time.
Number 7. Rain, Norway. Once you get down the end of the islands, you come to a small town called Rain. It turns out that you can get ferries here, so despite the road down here being almost empty, we suddenly found ourselves surrounded by other tourists. The drive down through the Lofoten Islands is nothing short of spectacular, with perhaps a dozen, I lost count, enormous, winding bridges connecting all of the roads. Number 6. Tromsø, Norway.
Gotta have it. I ain't even playing, gotta really.
There is also a busy cruise port as well, so it's popular for everyone, regardless of how you plan on getting around Norway. The city is very charming, and actually looks really cool from across the water. Tromsø is one of the most popular places to visit in Norway, as it has good roads getting there and even an airport. Number 5. Alta, Norway. It's a fairly sizable town, at least by Norway's standards, and is home to some really cool buildings, in particular, the Cathedral of the Northern Lights. I think Alta is one of the best places to visit in Norway if you need somewhere to base yourself for exploring the rest of northern Norway. Number 4. Lyngenfjord Bridge, Norway. The bridge itself is the main attraction, spanning a gorge, offering unparalleled views of a giant waterfall. As someone who has developed a fear of heights in recent years, it's fair to say I was more than a little freaked out going over the bridge.
I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If
the closest car park is about an hour's walk from the bridge, at least by our walking standards, and to get there you get the pleasure of heading up a winding valley road deep into the mountains.
the highest bidder, got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back better than.
Number 3. North Cape, Norway. It's a huge sense of achievement getting here by car, as you have to go a very long way to get there. There are a series of long tunnels and bridges that forge their way up to the North Cape, with the scenery getting more dramatic and desolate the further you go. Once again, it was the drive here that was so memorable, the whole way driving alongside some of the best fjords in Norway, as well as countless fishing villages. Number 2. Hammingbird, Norway. It gets to a point where you have only swirling ocean on one side, and steep, unforgiving mountain cliffs on the other. So if you do plan on visiting here in a Norwegian camper van or motorhome rental, just make sure it's equipped for that kind of weather. Then, if you plan on visiting in winter, when there's snow on the ground, then you need a heavy-duty road vehicle to get you there. There is only one road in and out of Hammingbjerg, and you have to first go to Vardo in order to get to that road. Number 1. Vardo, Norway. But as you will soon discover, many of the best places to see in Norway actually lie on the roads between destinations. It's a little out of the way, and in fact the drive here from the popular city of Kirkenes, more on that below, took a good day of driving. But as you will soon discover, many of the best places to see in Norway actually lie on the roads between destinations.
Work 9, if the shoot tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power.